Everything just swaying back and forth, and I just threw my broom down and went back downstairs.
How about you?
I was also on the 6th floor, and I started running. I was really scared. I didn't know what was happening. And the guy grabbed me and told me to get against the wall, you know, and then when I stopped, get out of there as fast as I could. It just really scared me. I thought the floor was going to come through.
And where were you?
I was on the 1st floor amongst a bunch of pulleys. I didn't have any control over my legs, so I dove for... I didn't have any control over my legs, so I dove underneath the post until it quit and ran out, and I got about a 5-second 100-yard dash in street shoes.
And saw the boxcars waving right next to me, and I just started running. The woman behind me fell, and really I picked her up.
You see the tower?
I was right by the tower. I was waving pretty bad.
Did you see the tower come down?
Well, I was in the 3rd floor in the package department on the baling machine, and we didn't know what the heck was happening until somebody yelled earthquake. And then I ran to the warehouse with a bunch of other guys. We were going to jump in the water, but then it stopped. So then we went back, and I went down the railroad tracks and helped pull some guys out of the lumber down there. One was dead, I'm pretty sure.
At this point, how do you assess the situation?
Well, I think we're really pretty lucky. It was a fairly severe earthquake, as I suspect anybody in the area knows by now. It didn't last long enough to cause severe damage except in a few areas, and very, very sorry to hear that we have had at least a few deaths as a direct result of the earthquake, which is, of course, tragic. The property damage, I'm sure, will run into many hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably into the millions.
What about the state capitol building itself, the legislative building and the dome?
After just a cursory examination, I asked that the legislative building be cleared, that we stay away during the day until we've had a much more comprehensive survey, a structural survey, particularly of the dome itself. There are some indications from the initial examination that there is some problems at the base of the dome, and we're trying to survey to find out how extensive the damage is.
What's been the reaction? I understand you've had a call from Governor Egan of Alaska and the President.
Yes, very, very thoughtful of both of them. Governor Egan called very shortly after the quake. He expressed not only his sympathy, but also his offer of any technical assistance or any people they have that could be of aid to us as a result of their knowledge and their experience, of course, in Alaska. And the President himself called on the same thing, to offer whatever help they could at the federal level, and his sympathy particularly to the families of those who had died in the quake.
Where were you when this happened?
I was just getting ready to leave the mansion. We having breakfast and just getting ready to come to my office when the quake hit. The first thing I did was try to find my young son. I thought he was upstairs, and by the time I got almost upstairs, I found out he was downstairs instead. So about that time the quake stopped.
I came right on from there, and I started all an earthquake. The people was away from the building.
You see things coming down?
Yeah, people was under there, that building, see? And people coming down and started hollering an earthquake, get out of the building.
Well, I was in my room. I didn't go outside. I heard one fellow shouting out in the hall, but I know that the hotel seemed to be shaped like a dragon box,
I was in Queen Anne High School on the 2nd floor, and I looked and the floor started, there was ripples in the floor, and we just ran out and everybody started running out.
Were you in class at the time?
No, school hadn't started.
How about you?
Yeah, I was on the same floor with her, and at first we thought it was just someone running down the hall, and then there was a lot of noise from the building. Somebody was moving, and then the floor was shaking up and down. Everyone just started running out. There wasn't any panic, but we all left.
I was in the elevator in the Great Northern building.
What was the feeling? Did you feel it in there?
The elevator wouldn't move. I pushed all the buttons, and it was shaking, and I didn't know what to do. So finally the door opened, and I looked down, and it was still shaking, and I walked down and ran off the building.
The people were running out into the street?
They sure were.
Where were you when the earthquake hit?
In my house, why?
What did you feel?
Started to rumble.
What did you do?
Ran outside, what else?